Bart, have you ever played foot golf before?
Yeah, I have. Not like super competitively, and it's been a long time ago, but yeah, I've played it.
Okay.
Did you putt with your toe?
I don't think I did because I wouldn't have thought to do that. We were just out there playing, so no, I did not.
So there you go. John Aaron is the guy, and Foot Golf World Cup in Orlando currently. So cool story on that on osdvsports.com.
Dylan_Butler, he's going to be hanging out for a long night talking about other stuff, I'm sure. And so we'll catch up with you, Dylan, next week. As always, my friend, thanks for hanging out with us on a Wall Pass Wednesday.
All right, boys.
All right.
Thanks, Dylan. So Jason has always made fun of me for the way I putt in foot golf.
Uh-huh.
First of all, when I shoot, I toe the ball when I shoot, like on the quote unquote drive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting under. I'm not like backspinning it unless I'm trying to like get it on the green and stop it. Like I John Daly that thing. I put my toe right in the middle of that thing, and wherever it goes, that's God's plan for it. When I putt, and Jason has always laughed at me for this, I walk up to it, and instead of toe poking it, I literally put my foot straight down and just use the top of my foot and just walk up to it and just tap it with the top of my foot
with your instep,
because it's just a flat surface.
Okay.
Just to try and make it go forward. But when I do it, I almost fall down, and it's like watching an ostrich trip.
Okay. That's intriguing. All right. I've never foot golfed in my life, and I would make a complete and total ass of myself, and I'd probably fall down about 7 times. And so that is something I would probably watch others do and sit there and have them laugh at me in turn. So that's foot golf down here for the morning. Bart comes in, as he always does, at 10:30 on Wednesdays, on Wall Pass Wednesday, and we have midweek whip around Wall Pass Wednesday, Bart Keeler, Dylan Butler. And Bart, first topic for you, and I imagine it's probably going to end up being a Soccer for US POD in a longer form about this particular topic. But the substitute teacher now has a substitute teacher.
Yeah, the assistant to the interim. I think that a lot of people are making something out of this that it doesn't need to be.
Okay.
Obviously, I think it's valid to criticize U.S. Soccer for not having a permanent coach in place or plans for that at this point in time. However, they have been pretty crystal clear with communicating that the coach would be in place by the end of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not, shifting on that timeline. As much as we would like for them to, they're not shifting on that. It is definitely not ideal that a guy named BJ Callahan, who may or may not have actually coached soccer before this, they tell us that he has, will be in charge of the team for 2 very important tournaments this summer. However, I think that this is maybe we will see, a invigorated squad that knows that they have to perform at their best in order to capture the goals that they set forth before this. And I also don't know how much of a great deal Anthony Hudson was really coaching the team up in the games that we have played. So it's, there's a lot of unknown. Do I feel as confident as I did, 36 hours ago? No, but I don't think this is a catastrophic event, and I certainly don't think that there's anything there were people, of course, trying to make some sort of conspiracy out of this because everything has to be a conspiracy in US soccer circles. Look, Anthony Hudson took a job because it's a permanent job. He doesn't have a permanent job right now.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. And supposedly the rumor is that it's somewhere in the Middle East. I would a club job is what has been reported. A club job in the Middle East. It's very possible he got, buckets of money from somewhere in Saudi Arabia to go coach Messi. I don't know. It's probably a better gig than what he has currently, or would have even within U.S. soccer after his interim role expires. So whatever, good for him. Hopefully it's a good job. I don't think there's any real reason to be super mad about this because U.S. soccer has been clear and consistent about their timeline for hiring a permanent manager from the start.
Let's ask the same question we always ask. Is Jesse Marsh the leader in the clubhouse?
Well, I've seen also that he's apparently the leader for the AS Monaco job, and he's also being considered for other jobs. Greg Berhalter is being considered for Swansea. Also, Jesse Marsh is being considered for Swansea. Who knows, Jarrett? Who knows?
See, yeah, Bart was right there on the edge of the explicit warning for the show this morning. I could sense where he was going. Allegedly, apparently, possibly, probably, Callahan joined U.S. Soccer in 2019 from the Philadelphia Union, initially served as the strategy analyst before being promoted to assistant coach, part of the staff that won Nations League Gold Cup and reached the round of 16 in the 2022 FIFA World Cup. So that's 7 years with the Philadelphia Union, 2 years coaching in the academy, 5 years as a first-team assistant coach to Jim Curtin, played 4 years at Ursinus College, served as an assistant at Villanova. So that is the CV of B.J. Callahan.
I mean, look, I think you'd rather someone of an actual coaching ilk be the next guy up. But the fact is, again, we're at the assistant to the interim, so that was just not going to happen. I mean, I personally, I'd say bring Mikey Varas up after he gets done winning a U20 World Cup with this group here, but that's not going to happen.
There you go. I'm digging that.
Has the federal government ever considered approaching U.S. Soccer about how to keep things under wrap and keep things quiet?
I know. It's pretty impressive that they were able to just keep going the way they are right now.
Yeah, I know we get rumors and all that this comes out with it, but we don't see. I feel like we don't see a lot of stuff get leaked until the 11th hour where it doesn't matter anymore. But
it is shocking that the Anthony Hudson news hasn't actually been, because we still don't know exactly where they said he is departing for an opportunity. There have been reports that it will be a club in the Middle East, but even that, it's been that's a super vague.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even give us a league, or a country.
It's in the Middle East, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, there's only let's be honest. There's only a handful of countries and leagues that I think he would go to for that. Yeah, it's I'm with you, Jared. It's surprising how little gets out.
Yeah, strange how that works.
Yeah, and so I guess away from the big team, you talked about winning a U20 World Cup and the hopes and dreams that we all hang on to this. What were your thoughts on yesterday's performance?
Caleb Wiley is very good. Man, he was cooking he was cooking up something special yesterday. I think it's very unfortunate he did not actually get an assist, and that's mainly because no one on this team is actually a good finisher.
Yeah,
and that's been the issue from the start. But this is a U20 team where you're taking guys from the ages of 17 to 20, and shockingly, our best striker in this age group is Ricardo Pepi. So he's not here for legitimate reasons and obvious reasons. So now you're going to, second, third, fourth choice striker options, and none of them seem to be great finishers. It's unfortunate, and I think that will probably bite this team at some point in the competition, but so far it hasn't. And yesterday was, he still got 4 goals. They're creating a lot of chances. Caleb Wiley is definitely part of that chance creation. I think he's thriving in that wing back role. And this team, it's just fun to watch. That's where I'm at. They're fun to watch. They create a lot of chances. They're pretty sharp defensively. It's a U20 tournament, so please no one take any actual big, takeaways from this other than some of these kids are pretty fun to watch. I know.
U20 tournament.
Look, if you win the thing, then you can overreact. I think anything short of winning, the takeaway is there's some talent, and the floor of that talent that we're producing continues to increase with every tournament. This is the 4th straight time the U20 men have made the quarterfinals of the U20 World Cup, but it does feel, that this team particularly is it's a step up from even those before then, and I think that's the real takeaway.
It's been fun to watch them in Argentina.
And as the commenters keep saying, San Juan. or whatever. They cannot. The English speakers, the British speakers, and the ability to pronounce anything in Spanish is by far my favorite challenge. Also, apparently calling one of the players Che Justin.
Yes.
All day yesterday until he scored, and then they got it right. They said Justin Che. But that was a fun.
On the air yesterday, we got Che Justin.
Che Justin and Josh Witter. Yeah.
Oh man.
The preparation apparently not very great, but San Juan and Che Justin.
Yep. Reffing down here this week, I do have a couple of topics that I wanted to
absolutely.
Get into. But has anything stuck out to you that you wanted to bring to the table this morning when it comes to reffing down here?
Not particularly this week. I will say that I think it was funny before in the pregame show, Mike and Jason talked about the referee. Oh crap! Now I can't remember his name. Who refereed our match Saturday?
I'll check it real quick.
It's the old dude. And I can't remember. He hasn't refereed in a while. Anyway, they were talking about how his average of fouls called is pretty low compared to others. And he calls like who?
Fotis Bazakas?
No. Last Saturday.
Oh, hang on. Checking back. Checking. Give me a second. Oh, Alan Chapman did.
Chapman, thank you, Chapman. Yeah, we haven't had him in a while, and they were obviously commenting on he doesn't call a whole lot of fouls, which we all know that. But yet he had to call like 5 fouls in the first 3 minutes, and that was kind of funny because the game was so I don't know, intense or sloppy. Which one was it, Jarrett? Which one was it? Because it was choppy at the start for sure.
Yeah, it's. Well, I mean, it's. We talk about this all the time, Bart, where like we talk about this with energy drink games. And I know you have preached this in the show of putting the right official in the right game, knowing how an official is wired and giving them the right game so that everybody benefits. And this is a rivalry game. You need to give it the right official to see it play out, maybe with 11 people on the field for each team. And
absolutely.
Feels like a win at that point.
Can't have that. Come on now.
And I think he did a good job. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I just thought it was funny that we were talking about how he doesn't call a whole lot of fouls. And of course, and there was like 3 in the first minute and a half. And I remember Mike specifically was like, these are legitimate fouls. He's not calling it tight. They're pretty. I think Sosa drew one and fouled another guy within 30 seconds of each other, and that felt about right.
It's just efficiency.
Yeah. Story in Soccer America that I wanted to bring to the table this morning, because there's a story domestically and the story that we talked about internationally. I want to say it was yesterday. Dan Woog wrote an article at Soccer America. Iowa Soccer innovates approach to training young refs.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan says nearly every soccer organization in the U.S. faces a crisis. Refs are leaving in alarming numbers. Most groups think the solution is money. If we pay them more, the thinking goes, we'll attract more. Iowa Soccer takes a different approach. Administrators are making it easier for young officials to begin in the first place. Then they give them the tools they really need. Not instruction in the laws of the game, but resources to handle coaches, parents, and players. There's money involved, of course. But in this case, it's a grant from U.S. Soccer to help train the referee trainers. Iowa Soccer, the governing body of both youth and adult soccer in the Hawkeye State, recently received funding to expand a pilot program that grows the base of the referee pyramid. It targets youngsters ages 12 to 14, minimizing barriers to entry while helping them manage small-sided games. The grant is one of 19 awarded through U.S. Soccer's Innovate to Grow program. The total of over $3 million focuses on increasing participation and retention and encouraging a variety of play, sparked by a nearly 50% decline in youth officials in a 5-year period. CEO of Iowa Soccer and referee and sportsmanship director zeroed in on the base of the pyramid. The CEO said, quote, I always thought introductory courses were too law-heavy. They didn't prepare new referees for the actual experience. He's a national referee, worked D1 MLS preseason matches before getting injured. And they created a pilot program, no cost for the training, prepares participants to officiate 6- and 7-year-old games. Rather than instruction on the nuances of fouls, it explores what-ifs. What should you do, for example, if a ball goes out of bounds and a player from the wrong team throws it in, or a mom runs onto the field in the middle of a game because her child is crying? The pilot program rolled out last spring with 60 youngsters in 4 clubs. This year it expanded to 8. And besides free access to the training, every new referee is given a shirt. The 2 guys have conducted all the training. They will train others to lead courses. The U.S. Soccer grant will enable Iowa Soccer to push the program out to 40 clubs, paid for the first year of referee certification and a uniform for every youngster who wants to continue beyond the initial program.
So I think this is actually perfect because it's something that I think we've needed. We have the grassroots referee certification, but we need something before that is not official refereeing, if that makes sense, for the 9 and younger age group. Because at that age, and this, I'm sorry if there are any soccer parents in the chat who feel differently. At that age, what matters is the fact that they're just out there playing soccer. The score does not matter. Yellow cards and red cards don't really matter unless it's egregious things. Getting them out there in structured environments is what matters, right? So for the referees, I love this approach because it's just about game management. It's just about, the example of if a mom runs onto the field. Personally, in my training, we were told that if you sell it like you told her that, yes, she can come onto the field because you do not get in the way of a mama bear and her cub.
Yeah.
That is a law of nature. And you just say, yeah, she's allowed on. Especially at that age. Yeah. But, little things like that do matter because at that age, you're going to get, what happens if a kid runs onto the field during a substitution, even though it wasn't their turn? And, the legitimate thing is you're supposed to give them a yellow card. But let's be real honest, at that age, it's more just, hey, Johnny, go back to the bench. It's not your turn. Things like this. Actually, Soccer for Good, OG, I feel like I remember that program for Soccer in the Streets where it wasn't about being a fully certified referee. It was just getting people out there who are neutral and in charge of those young games. And I think that's what we're talking about here, is just someone who is a neutral bias, who is just there to make sure kids are safe and having fun in an organized manner, that aren't screaming at them the whole time. So I love this. I think this is the perfect way to get kids interested, get them a little bit of money. And I like the idea also of helping pay for the certification and uniform. I've felt long that clubs should be empowered to do that. If you get a kid who can do the, U8 rec game, I don't know why you need a fully certified ref for that. I don't think it's necessary. But get the 13-year-old whose dad is probably one of the coaches anyway, of the U12 academy team, and they're at the field anyway. So just put them out there and say, hey, go make sure the game gets reported correctly. I think that's beautiful. I think this is what we need to get more of, because it does get kids learning what being a referee is about before we get into actual laws of the game.
Goal is that the young officials who begin with age-appropriate training will want to move up the ranks, take a certification class. Project also involves sportsmanship. Kids and adults leave officiating because of the way they're treated by coaches and parents. Iowa Soccer is going to provide signage and literature for everyone who's at the fields. For the program's third prong is mentorship. Quoting the CEO for Iowa Soccer, it doesn't matter whether you want to do U14 rec or become a national referee, we'll help you. Feedback has been positive. Pilot clubs have asked for more training. Young refs have continued to enjoy it. Some have even taken the next grassroots course. Coaches and parents appreciate Iowa Soccer's commitment to young officials. And so that was topic number 1. Topic number 2 in England, and I can never do it like Jason does it, so I just say England. From the Telegraph, football teams to face points deductions for ref abuse under new FA sanctions. Rules will take effect for the 23-24 season in grassroots games, and there was a calling for it to be expanded into elite games. Grassroots teams will be hit with points deductions for abusing refs under new landmark sanctions from the Football Association to combat rising on-field hostilities across the game. Football regulatory authorities approved the punishment ratified by the FA Council. Grassroots and former elite refs unanimous in welcoming the move, although some immediately called on the governing body to consider extending the sanctions to the elite game. Mark Bullingham, governing body's chief exec, has championed tougher protections following consistent feedback from across grassroots football that player behavior is a significant issue, consulting with pro leagues about improving the poor behavior in the elite game. Multiple amateur leagues were canceled last year in England after a shocking upturn in violence and abuse, with 380 players and coaches banned. Points deductions will now specifically target offending teams where its participants commit serious misconduct, making clear to clubs that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated. So points deductions and suspensions.
I wish they would, do actual points deductions for financial fair play breaches, but that's just an Arsenal fan being upset that Manchester City's going to buy another title next year. No, I think this is an interesting approach because clearly, as that article detailed, there's been problems up and down the grassroots and semi-pro, or whatever that you want to call that level in between, youth and actual certified professional leagues, because if you're going to act as though a single referee decision is somehow going to alter the outcome of the match the way that they think they do, and act a fool out of that, then you're going to actually have sanctions that alter the outcome of your season. Because clearly the threat of missing games because you've abused a referee isn't working, right? That's there. Referee abuse, getting a red card in the game, all these things, you can miss games for that. But clearly that's not an incentive enough. So here they are trying another thing. I don't know how this will work. Obviously, you have these regulations. You have to actually implement them as well. But it's another mechanism to try to get people to act and behave right. And I think it just goes back to the overall, referees get the most abuse, but it just goes back to the idea that for some reason these people feel like youth soccer and the game that's going on in their, in front of them is somehow the most important event going on in the entire world at that given time. And I get it. That's what happens with parents. Again, we talk about it every week, that something happens when you have a child, you turn into a Neanderthal and everything is about protecting that child.
Yeah,
I get it. But there has to be some level of respect for everyone involved, and that includes the referees.
Jarrett, what's on your mind for Bart?
Oh God.
I didn't mean to give you. It's like I know that you've got 9 things running through your head.
No, and I also have to jump after this.
Okay.
Hey Bart, because we've asked everybody else this question, let's ask you too. What are your thoughts about Tillman poking the bear in Mexico?
I love it. They better back it up. Back it up. But hey, listen, the man just got his, one-time switch to the U.S. men's national team. Talk that smack. I love it. I think that, I mean, look, I'm not going to say he's right, but I'm going to say that I agreed with his comments.
And it will be, so are you going to be, it would end up being a rather, Coco says Tillman better not get skinned alive. I mean, I think that first tackle might be, when he's in that match, the first tackle, the first interaction he gets is probably going to be a reminder about that. But that's the thing. You want to talk that game, you better back it up. Jared, are you back with us tomorrow?
I am back with you tomorrow.
Then you'll be back with us tomorrow.
We'll rehash whatever happens tonight. Everybody's so doom and gloom about it right now. I don't really want to talk about it anymore because, you got 2 teams that are kind of scuffling a bit. But pretending that one of them isn't scuffling just to make yourself feel more warm and fuzzy and pessimistic and however you're going to live your life, man, I don't know.
Okay.
It should be a dumb game. It should be beautiful.
My prediction is that we give up a goal somehow, and because we didn't mark a player. That's my prediction for tonight, Jarrett.
Very possible. This game could go 4-4.
Yeah.
Neither one of these teams are we were talking about this in the first hour. Atlanta's advanced stats point to them regressing in a positive way in terms of goals allowed. New England can't defend.
No,
we could get a 4-4 masterpiece.
They don't have the personnel right now. They really don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think injuries were an excuse. I'm sorry. We can use those now. Well, shiver my timbers. Anyway, I'm hoping for just stupidity. We could get 3-3, 4-4, something like that. That'd be hilarious.
Stupidity down here. We'll talk about it tomorrow with you, Jared. We'll see you then.
Yep.
All right. So there goes Jarrett. So Bart, you're over under, by the way, since we were getting into this discussion. Over under at 2.5 is a minus 147. Over under at 3.5 is a plus 170. And if you really want to get into numbers, over under at 4.5 is a plus 400. So if you're looking at a 3-2 and you want to put some stinky juice boxes on something,
Yeah.
and that's what we always say. We always say and maintain. Please invest only the juice boxes that you can afford to part with. If it's one that has an expiration date of 2012 that's been hanging out at the back of the fridge, if it's a flavor that you were given at a friend's U12 match and you sit there and you look at that and it's like, I don't like passion fruit guava mango, that's the one you invest. You don't invest one that you like. You don't invest the Capri Sun that's the multi-berry flavor. You don't invest the Celsius that you sit there and it's like, oh, wild berry, I want to invest that. No. It's got to be something at the back of the fridge. It's got to be something with a flavor that you don't like. It's got to be something with an expiration date that is way off the charts. We do not condone or endorse any kind of juice box investment with something that you like. Only invest juice boxes that you can part with traditionally. So that's what we're staring at here.
I mean, looking back at the last month and a half of matches, actually 2 months of matches, we've had at least 2 goals in every single match. Most matches have gone to 3 goals.
Yeah.
Several have gone to 4. So I would lean on that over under 3 goals. I think the over is more likely to happen than not.
Yeah.
That would be my personal take. I will put grape juice boxes on that because I do not like grape.
Okay. Just checking.
No, if I wanted to put something actually on it, it would be like fruit punch or citrus or one of those flavors.
Pineapple, mango, citrus kickstart.
Absolutely.
That's what it would be for me because literally there are some stores that's the only one that they take, as I have gravitated sometimes to kickstarts these days. And I'm like, do I really have to? And it's like, yes, the only one.
The pineapple mango citrus is good. I'm a fan of that one. That used to be the one my go-to as well. I got into Celsius recently, and they've got the tropical vibe one or the peach vibe that I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
This game, I agree with Jarrett. It could be 4-4. It could be 1-1. But I'm not joking when I say that we will give up a goal because we just choose not to mark someone. Because apparently, Gonzalo Pineda is only capable of telling the team to be more intense in press conferences after the matches where we are not intense enough, and not doing that in training or before a match. So this is a frustrating trend that I know we all share. Sorry to get into actual Atlanta United talk, but it does need to get fixed because part of this is definitely on the players. I 100%
and
agree.
That was the point that I was going to draw.
But part of this is also on the coaching staff to get them to the level of intensity they need to be ready to win those battles and be attuned to the danger early on in matches, because we can't keep thinking that Thiago Almada will just be fantastic and great and save us every match, even though he does have a track record of doing that. That it's not going to be done every time, and you can't keep leaving yourselves holes, and you just cannot continue to allow teams to score on you with such ease. That's why I laughed when Jarrett said, "Oh, we should regress back to the XG against," and I'm like, no, we won't, because we can. The goals we're giving up are because we just choose to give them up. We choose to turn off at all the wrong times, and that's the reason why we've given up the second most goals or whatever it is in the league. I'm looking at the schedule going forward, and it just gets harder. And so, good teams create good opportunities, and we're very good at giving up goals on bad opportunities. So, that Charlotte game to me was a perfect example of a bad team. I still think Charlotte's a bad team. I don't care what their track record actually says. A bad team gets a couple of opportunities, and we give them a gift. Gutman makes a stupid foul in the box. We don't mark on the back post because Lennon has to go take maybe a guy he maybe shouldn't have marked, but there was a free guy in the box, so he had to go mark him. There's a guy at back post. all these things that we just continually do. We overcommit to one side. I do think that there's a lot on the coaching staff to get this team prepared to play and defend for 90 minutes. And I think a lot of that, yes, you can blame the players for their lack of intensity or lack of attentiveness, but the coaches are also part of this team, and they've got to do their job. And just saying, "Oh, we weren't urgent enough," or "We didn't have the intensity after the match," this is just the fan in me speaking, but it doesn't make us feel better when you say it every single match. And maybe that's a leadership issue on the field. I will be the first to criticize that Miles Robinson is not that type of leader. It's not his fault. That's just not the guy he is. He's not the scream, get in your face, and motivate people to be a little bit more intense. That's not who he is.
But now
I don't know who.
But now that you have Brad back, you do have that voice back.
Yeah, maybe Brad can do that. That wasn't necessarily the case against Orlando because we still had that issue. We also don't have a single, in my opinion, good central midfielder. We have Thiago Almada as the attacking mid, but I do not think we have a good central midfielder, and we're paying a shit ton of money for all of them.
There's the
sorry. We're paying a crap ton of money for all of them to not be very good. And that's a problem as well.
I would disagree with you where Franco Ibarra is concerned, though.
Yeah, he's not making as much money.
So
it's been problematic, John. The midfield is problem. I agree that Ibarra has been the best overall performer. Unfortunately, he can't stay on the field. And when Sosa's on the field, I don't know why necessarily. I mean, there are reasons, and there are some technical reasons and tactical reasons, but we just don't have great success when Santi Sosa's on the field. We certainly don't win a whole lot when he's on the field. Maybe that's because he gets put out there against better teams, but I don't exactly, I don't know why that is, but it has become frustrating, John, but at the same time, people will say, well, we're still in a playoff position. And they're right. We keep going down the table because we can't get a win. And when we do get a win, we throw away any momentum by putting out a starting lineup that isn't very winnable. But, hey, intensity, right? That's what matters. I don't know. I'm hopeful that this summer we get some replacements. We find some guys who can bring that intensity to the midfield. But I'm not hopeful because we're also likely to lose. We will lose Luis Arujo, which, despite his lack of production, has been a person who draws attention from the other team. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, we're most likely losing Thiago Almada as well. I think it's very unlikely that we get a loan move back. I just, I'm not hopeful for that. Yeah. So, I'm concerned because we've had very easy teams that we've, very easy opponents. We haven't maximized our points from that. We've gotten lucky to beat some of the teams we have or tie some of the teams we have. And this is with, I'm concerned, John. Let's just put it. I have concerns that this team is not where it needs to be. But I also can understand that this team is the team before the team that is good. Maybe next season after, a couple of transfer windows where Garth gets to, I don't think Garth is pulling the strings, but I think he's guiding I think he's guiding the spending a little bit better. Let's just put it that way. I don't think that was
Garth has said that this will be the year that, you've got to pull, you just have to pull the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
And things will evolve from here. So
yeah. I mean, he's very clear I think he communicates very clearly and plainly, how he feels the team, where he feels the team needs to improve, what the strategy is. And again, I don't think Garth is the one making the signings. I think that he's said that very clearly as well. But I think his guidance is helpful because I don't think Darren was in that type of way, that type of president. He obviously doesn't have the personnel and the technical background that Garth does. We know that Garth has been doing that in this league, but he's not going, like, I think people want to continually give credit to Garth when any time a good signing happens. And it's like, well, that wasn't Garth. Garth isn't out there scouting or signing. He's guiding.
Mm-hmm.
And that usually has probably more to do with salary versus, types of players we're looking for, stuff like that. So.
And see, and Bart, when we go down this road, I know that it's kind of a running jab where we do. Yeah, we talk a lot about reffing down here, national team stuff, and then with like 3 seconds left in the segment, you want to.
I know. I have thoughts on this team, John. I'm a season ticket holder. I travel a lot for them. I have thoughts.
and this is why I would posit that if we were to have you come on for a second weekly segment, then that would be the Atlanta United Bart Keeler segment, because
it probably would be.
That's the thing. It's like it's like 3 seconds left in the segment, and then he wants to talk about Atlanta United. I have no problem doing added extra time. I never do. But no, it's like you bring this in the back door, and it's like, oh, ish. It's like, all right, so he wants to bring this on.
Well, it's also match day, and I've got my Atlanta United polo on as I'm here in the office, and it just, you want this team to be good because you see the potential, you see the passion the fan base has. You see the fact that we're still packing out the bins. I mean, I wasn't able to go to the last Wednesday night game because I was sick, but like watching on TV, you could still see that it was pretty full.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Wednesday games are hard. I know this one particularly, that 30 minutes extra or early is going to be tough for people to get into the stadium.
It's actually only 14 minutes early because it's a 7:25 kick.
Well, I know.
Like a pregame show.
Right. Yeah, you're right. But point is, it's a little bit earlier than normal.
Mm-hmm.
But look, we still have a fat, passionate fan base. We still have a front office that is, despite what you actually think of their skills and ability, are committed to making the team better and making it as good as it can be. Are they able to execute that all the time? Clearly not. But no front office is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And you have an owner who's willing to back the front office and their goals for signing good players. So we just all want the team to perform at the level that a team with this type of financial backing should perform at. We don't want to be Chelsea. We would like to be.
Well,
we would like to be more like Newcastle, Arsenal, or teams like that, where they're getting the best out of their players.
Much love to Alex Pacine, but that's a PIF discussion, and I don't want to get.
Well, fair enough.
And Rich, the Philadelphia Union fan, and all of this sits there and says, "One win, you guys are in third, still a good position."
I mean, and that's exactly where we're at, Rich. We are dropping down the table because we are not getting the wins that we need. But at the same time, we're still very much in the playoff hunt. We're still very much in the hunt for a home playoff match. The problem is we just see teams like Nashville continuing to churn out wins.
Nashville, don't even get me started on Nashville. I
don't like to talk about them either.
I love, Lucas Panziku's got golden ticket status. I will listen to Lucas and Jalil Baba. But Nashville is one. I mean, Nashville rolls 7s and 11s when they need to.
It's crazy how they do it, John. It really is. And I think we just want a little bit of that. It feels like we're not getting that. We got it a couple times early in the season, again, because Thiago Almada is a very good soccer player. And sometimes, having the best player on the field will win you or get you points. It's fair. He's very good. But I will continue to say that, look, this team is going to be in a lot of flux at the end of this season, at the beginning of next year, because we're going to lose some very good players. And one of those, and to tie this up, John, and I'll leave you with this, one of those is Caleb Wiley. And I just want to repeat that Caleb Wiley has had a fantastic U20 tournament, and this is the type of tournament that can add a lot of value to someone's transfer rating, if you will. And Atlanta United is going to have a big decision to make about him, I think, possibly this summer, if not going into next year. And good for him.
But you also have coming up the pipeline, you have Efren Morales, you've got Noah Cobb, you have Johnny Fortune in the midfield. So it is working from an academy standpoint with what you're seeing from Atlanta United too, and players working their way up. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with wanting better. Absolutely nothing wrong with wanting better. And I know that what we try to do here on the show is offer the forum, whether it's Twitch Pitch or through guests or what have you, to have all these different perspectives on the table because, that's what we're here for. We want to have Rich. Bart always says the wrong takes about Curtin and the Union, but that's just Rich. He gets the Union dig in right there at the end. But no, we always want the honest exchange of ideas, whether it's in the Twitch Pitch or here on the show. And that's the thing. It's like, it's we may have raised voices at one another, but having all of these different perspectives is what we've always wanted to have here on the show every single morning.
Well, John, I think we're blessed to have a club where demanding the best isn't unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
We're not Nashville, to be quite honest, which has continually hits their ceiling a lot of times in the first round of the playoff.
They absolutely do, because their defense can only take them so far, right. And when you have no secondary striker to help out Hani Mukhtar, that traditionally means you're only scoring once.
Right. I mean, we're not even, we're certainly not LA Galaxy, although they're in a position to demand excellence. We're not DC United, we're not Montreal, we're not Vancouver, we're not teams that just hope to maybe make the playoffs. And I'm not trying to disparage them. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We are Atlanta United, and from day one, the goal has always been to win MLS Cup.
Yeah.
And we are blessed to have that because the infrastructure to achieve that goal is there. We've been fortunate enough to win 3 major trophies. And we've been fortunate enough to even during bad years, still be playoff contenders and still have guys like Thiago Almada or PT Martinez in front of us to watch. And, that is still a blessing when it's all said and done. Pressure is a privilege. I forget which coach always says that, but that's the truth when it comes to Atlanta United. This is a team full of pressure because we do expect them to be good. The reason we expect them to be good is because we have good players. We are spoiled. We can be spoiled and blessed at the same time.
And we didn't even get into the naming of the England World Cup squad. The Lionesses named their squad this morning.
Yeah, I was curious how that was going to be the actual final squad, but I don't have time to get into all of that. But Rachel Daly, top scorer in the league this past year, she's listed as a forward. I did see that. So
she is listed as a forward. That is true.
Hint, Vlatko. It can be done. You can put Crystal Dunn in the midfield.
6 appearing in their first major tournament: Lauren James, Niam Charles, Katie Zalem, Laura Coombs, Esme Morgan, and Katie Robinson. So that is your rundown, the quick rundown of Lionesses down here. What's the latest for Soccer for USPOD?
We are recording tomorrow because the Nations League roster should drop tomorrow.
And there's a game. There's a match, multiple matches.
Apparently, players were supposed to be. Yeah. Well, yeah. Apparently, Anthony Hudson was supposed to be calling players yesterday, so or today, one of those two, I forget exactly. But so the roster is supposed to drop tomorrow for the Nations League. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about U20s as well, since they are into the quarterfinals. And we'll talk a little bit about what the BJ Callahan interim thing now, what that means for this team. They say the goals haven't changed. I think that's fair. I think, it'll be interesting, John. I know the guys that we're going to have on all have thoughts about what this means. But at the end of the day, just going to be excited to see some of the guys on the roster to get back into the red, white, and blue and hopefully kind of shake off a bad season that a lot of those guys had at the club level.
At Soccer for USPOD at Barnum's Prime 19. What's the mug this morning, by the way, Bart?
It's my normal mug that I have in the office. It just says "Be kind" and it's got a little bumblebee on it. So.
Okay. So are you going to make it to the match tonight? Or
I will be. Yeah, I'll be at the match tonight. Leaving from the office, taking Marta down. So lucky that I can do that.
No doubt. All right, so we'll catch up with you again next week. Thanks, as always, for hanging out with us at 10:30 on Wednesdays when you are well enough to do so.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone, and y'all have a wonderful day.